welcome to our backyard stream. So today we're going to be talking about my backyard stream, and one of the first things that I want to discuss is bringing out a field sheet. If you don't have a field sheet, that's fine. You can print one off from watersheddata.com, or you can just use a notebook. The most important information to have on your field sheet includes the coordinates of the location, so that's the longitude or latitude, the date, and then also any information that you have. So in this case, I'm going to be doing several different tests. I am going to be looking at temperature using a thermometer. I'm going to be looking at electrical conductivity using this electrical conductivity probe. I will also be doing turbidity using this turbidity tube. Turbidity is just going to measure the transparency of the water. So it helps to let us know how much sediments are in the water. We're also going to be measuring pH, nitrates, nitrites, and I think this also does alkalinity. Finally, we're also going to use this beautiful little butterfly net to do some dip net testing to see if we can find any macroinvertebrates. And if we do collect any, I have a jar and rubbing alcohol to put them in, so that way we can sit down and identify them afterwards. If you're going to be doing macroinvertebrate testing, it would also be helpful to have a trash bag, which I have over off-site. That way you can not lose them. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to just start by filling out my field sheet with what information I have. So that's the date, and then, so we have site ID on our field sheet. So I'm calling ours Gresh Gulch, as my father calls that, his stream's name. And then the longitude and the latitude. Now the next thing you can do is write about your site description and or observations. It's very helpful to take a photo, and if you want to submit this online, you should take a photo. As far as weather conditions, you can write about the weather conditions. In our case, it had been 90 degrees for a week up to this point, and then last night for the first time in over a week it rained. It's still very, very hot though. So now that I have this stuff down, I'm going to go ahead and start with temperature. So here we can watch the red liquid go down. It's an alcohol-based liquid, so if it breaks for any reason, it's non-toxic and safe. And we just wait until the red liquid stabilizes somewhere. So right now it's about 70. We'll see if it goes down a little bit further. But it's important to have the bulb, which is the bottom part here, completely submerged. And this is waterproof, so if you drop it, it's not a big deal. It's staying there. Like 67 degrees. So then I'm going to write down my temperature in my field sheet. So 67 degrees, and my field sheet has it in Celsius, but this was in Fahrenheit, so I'm just going to mark that down so I know for sure what it is. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and measure, I'm going to use a pH strip. So next we're going to do pH, hardness, alkalinity, nitrates, and nitrites. So this is our bottle and this is our strip. As you can see on the strip, there are several different pads. And the bottle actually tells you where to read from. So you're going to be holding it like this when you do it. Now the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to stick it in the water, completely submerged so all the pads are covered for about 2 seconds. And we're going to take it off, do a quick shake, and then wait about 25 seconds. And then we're going to start measuring from pH first, and then we go to nitrates last. So I'm going to go ahead and dip it in. 1, 2, big shake, and then we count. So 1, 2, 3, 25. So now that we've had 25 seconds, we can go ahead and start measuring. So we're going to start with pH, which is right here. And we're going to line it up to see what color it closely matches. So it looks to me to be between these two colors. So it's somewhere probably between 6.5 and 7, which is actually really, really good for water quality. We want our water to be around 7, so it seems pretty close to that, looking at this color. The next one's total alkalinity. So we're going to, again, try to match it up. So this one's the alkalinity. We're matching it up with that one's thing. So it doesn't look like that one, not like that one. Pretty close to this one, and fairly close to this one. It kind of looks like it's a blend. So probably somewhere between 80 and 120, which according to this chart, that's in the moderate range. It looks like 180 is supposed to be ideal. So next we're going to look at total hardness. So that's the next one over. It's this reddish one. So for total hardness, again, we're going to look see where it blends in the best. And somewhere between 75 and 150. So it's pretty medium water. It's somewhere between soft and hard water. So next we're going to go to nitrates. Again, that's going to be right here. And if you look, it's white. There's not really any nitrates in here. And then finally we're going to look at nitrates. So that's the very last one. And again, it's very lightly colored. It doesn't fit any of these colors exactly. So it's even lighter than this 20 here. So it's probably between 0 and 20, which is considered safe. So it actually has very low nitrates and nitrates levels, which is a really good sign. That typically means it's probably not polluted with fertilizers or those type of chemicals. So that's actually really, really good. So that's how you do the pH strip. And when you're done with this, don't just throw it out, don't litter. Make sure you put it somewhere where you're going to take it home and throw it away when you're done. So I'm just going to put it in my little bucket to be taken away later. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and test for is conductivity. So this is our electrical conductivity meter. We call it a electrical conductivity water pen. Completely waterproof, so if you drop it in, it's not a big deal. So the way that we measure is first we take off the cap. If you see here, there's a little probe, and you have these two little things. This will actually send out a very tiny electric charge in order to see how conductive the water is. So we're going to turn it on, and then this is the screen we're going to be reading. So it reads in microsiemens. So we're going to just submerge it into the water, and then wait for that number to stabilize. So this is an indirect way to measure dissolved solids. Dissolved things within water is actually what makes water conductive, the ions typically. So this can be a clue if there's a lot of dissolved ions, metals, or other things. So it looks like it's pretty stable there. It says 274. Then we just take it out when we're done, kind of give it a shake, make sure you turn it off, and then you just put your cap back on. Again, it's waterproof, so it's not a big deal if you get water on it. So far, this hasn't taken very long. We've already tested the pH, the alkalinity, the hardness, the nitrites, the nitrates, conductivity, temperature. So the last thing that we're going to try to do, well, two more things. We're going to do turbidity, and then we're going to try to get macrovertebrates. So this is our turbidity tube. So at the bottom of the turbidity tube is a Secchi disc. So if you look at the bottom of this tube, you can see a Secchi disc, which is a black and white circle. So this is our turbidity tube. So as you can see, it has a Secchi disc in the bottom. We have this long tube, and then we have this valve. And this valve doesn't have a closure, but you can pinch it. So this connects to this. So once this is filled with water, you can pinch or release to let out water. And then finally, you can also see these small markings. I don't know if you can see them very clearly, but this is telling us how many centimeters it is. So what we do is we take our turbidity tube and we want to fill it to the very top with the water from here. And we try not to get any air bubbles in it. So we're going to go ahead and just dip it in like this. Try not to disturb any of the dirt at the bottom if you can. Oh, get that bubble out of there. There we go. And then bring it up. So mine lost a little bit of water in there, but that's okay for right now. So let's look. So when you're doing turbidity, you typically want to be somewhere that is well lit. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look down into the tube and see when you can see the Secchi disc. So I'm going to look down. I don't really see it, so I'm going to release some of the water until you can see it nice and clearly. And this is very subjective, so I can see it clearly there. Someone else might not be able to, but I can. And so if I'm testing multiple sites, it's important that I'm the one doing this, because while I might be able to see it, other people might not. Dad, can you see it clearly?
I can see it.
Okay. So in this case, this is actually about 34.8-ish centimeters, which is much worse than before. So this is actually a much worse reading, but that's because we disturbed the water. So the turbidity is higher because we were already messing around. See all this dirt? that's what the turbidity is measuring. So we had all that silt in here because I had already jabbed for macroinvertebrates. So that's how you use these things up close. So the final thing we're going to do is we're going to do macroinvertebrate sampling. Now this pool might not be the best place to test, and I'm not super hopeful we'll find a lot of stuff because typically you want to test places that have leaf packs and woody debris, but this is actually pretty heavily sedimented on the bottom, and we don't have a lot of overhanging vegetation. But what you do, and you can do this with a simple butterfly net, is you're going to take your net and you're going to do jabs. So the jabs, you're supposed to do 20 jabs in an area. So I'm going to come over here where we do have at least some vegetation, and I'm going to try jabbing over here. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to do jabs like this. Try to hit the debris, break it up, and see if you can get anything. Now you might get something, you might not, and that's okay. So I'm going to try jabbing over here, trying to get some of the rocks moving. And while I haven't seen any macroinvertebrates in particular, I did see a crayfish in here earlier, so I'm going to make a note of that as well, even if I don't catch the crayfish. I'm going to actually take out my trash bag. I'm going to lay out my trash bag. And it's great to take out your trash bag because if you're in an area that has a lot of litter, after you're done you can pick up trash on your way back. And then I'm just going to dump my net onto it. And this is going to prevent any of our little buddies from escaping should we catch any. So let's see if there's any in here. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to find any here. Maybe we'll go further upstream and look again. But you just look for small macroinvertebrates. And then if you get any, you can put them in your jar. And then you can try to identify them. But today we just have rocks and leaves. But I did see crayfish earlier, so I will write that down. So that's pretty much all you have to do for my backyard stream. If you want to learn more about macroinvertebrate sampling, we have a great video on watershedData.com. If you want to do this at home, we also have a lesson plan that takes you through all the steps in a written format. And yeah, if you want this testing kit, Ohio University will be having one available to pick up from libraries. So you can do it at home and then return it when you're done. So thank you for joining us today in our backyard stream. We hope you check out your stream sometime. Thank you.